Hey everyone, Mac here. Welcome to another episode of Mac.ai. And today I really have a really fun episode for you guys, especially if you have kids. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a children's book using 100% AI. I'm going to cheat a little bit, but you can totally do this however you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an image that my daughter drew, and we're going to turn that character into a full-fledged children's book. So if you have kids, really fun projects, it's a great way to connect with them. Maybe they can come up with characters for you, give you ideas, and you can turn them into really cool either learning experiences or just really cool stories that you can share with them before bedtime. So let's jump right in. Right, so the three tools that we're going to be using here are going to be ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Canva. So we're going to use ChatGPT to create. We're going to use ChatGPT to create the story, and to help us write the story, we're going to give it some ideas, and then we're going to use Google Gemini to actually help us come up with some characters, some images. I feel like Google's Gemini, the Nano Banana, is just a lot more consistent as far as image generation. We're probably going to get here and there some inconsistency, but we're hoping that it's not going to be very noticeable throughout. So let's go ahead and get started. I have here an image that my daughter drew. It's supposed to be an image of her, and above it, it says, "I like chocolate milk." She absolutely loves chocolate milk. She likes drinking it. And earlier today, I created a story about a little girl that went on an adventure to go save chocolate milk. So let's go ahead and get this going here. So first, what I'm gonna start off with is, before we jump into anything too crazy, I'm gonna start off with just kind of getting an idea for the story. So let's go ahead and start off with chat. And what we're going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and just try. I'm just going to try to reconstruct the story I told my daughter earlier. So it was about chocolate milk. Now you can do this however you want. If you want ChatGPT to give you some ideas on that, or maybe you can, come up with a prompt that's going to let you do that. So let's go ahead and get it going. So the story was about saving chocolate milk for the entire chocolate milk world or something like that. So we're going to come up with some character names. I gave the name of Elizabeth. And what we're going to ask ChatGPT to do is help us actually refine the story, create the story, and then also help us come up with prompts for character generation and also image generation. So the story is, you can prompt it however you like. I usually just like talking to it like it's a buddy of mine. So I'll start off with, want to create a children's book. I am going to give you the story, and then you will help me refine it and also write some prompts for character design and image generation for the story. The story is this. The story starts with a little girl named Elizabeth in the kingdom of chocolate milk. She absolutely loved chocolate milk. but he was too quick. And now here, I'm struggling a little bit on how to end this, so I can ask ChatGPT to help me with an ending. It should have enough context with all the details I'm giving it, so I can actually come up with, I can actually prompt it. And here is where I would need help. The next part in creating an ending. The ending I would like with the queen congratulating Elizabeth and the Exalato, and providing a direct line from the palace to her home with all you can drink chocolate milk. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and see what kind of output it gives us now. A great foundation for a children's whimsical world, a brave protagonist, a cute sidekick, and a simple quest with clear stakes. Let's do this step by step. Strengthen the story flow and ending. Okay, here's a refined version of your story with the natural rhythm, simpler language, phrase, and a satisfying ending. Elizabeth and the chocolate milk thief. In the kingdom, everyone drank chocolate milk every day, but no one loved it more than the little girl named Elizabeth. One morning, great. So Elizabeth, see, it was the chocolate milk thief. He laughed as he snatched the clean last bottle from Elizabeth's bag. You'll never catch me, he said, running into the woods. But what he didn't know was Elizabeth had stuck the bug tracker under the bottle. Too tired to chase, Elizabeth and Lila came up under the stars, so he even came up with the name for the Exalato. By morning, the tracker was glowing. It led them to a hidden cave in the valley. Inside were barrels, bottles, and fountains, all filled with stolen chocolate milk. So happily, his whiskers covered in chocolate foam. Elizabeth whispered, "Now, Lila." They rolled a barrel down the splash. Chocolate milk poured. Thief slipped, tumbled, and landed right in his own mess. The queen's guards, who followed the glowing tracker, arrived just in time to scoop him up. Back in the castle, the queen rewarded Elizabeth and Lila with shiny medals and golden chocolate milk pipeline that led straight to Elizabeth's home. From that day on, Elizabeth never ran out of chocolate milk again, and she always shared it with her best friend Lila. That's actually, I think, is a really good, solid ending. So it can definitely help you fill in the gaps, especially if you give it enough context. So the next, we're looking at the character design here. Character and design prompts for image generation. Here's a little girl with golden brown hair. So we already got an idea that that we're gonna use, and I'm gonna ask it right now. So world design prompts, right? So optional refinement prompts. So next, what I really want is to write a page, a full page by page layout. So let's go ahead and do. Let's start with the full page by page layout. Oh, actually, before we do that, so for Elizabeth, I have an image my daughter drew that I want to use. So I'm not worried about that. I would just need a prompt so the image can match this world. So let it know that. Perfect. Blah blah blah. So yeah, so it's giving me some prompts for that already. So we're gonna jump into that. It jumped a little bit ahead what I wanted to do, but now let's go ahead and break down the full page. Okay, create a full page by page layout. This story. So now it's gonna start giving me a full. It's designed for a 32-page picture book. Okay, the standard for children's publishing. Each page spread left plus right includes narration, text, kid-friendly pacing. So opening scene, text, right, and we're gonna take this here soon. And what we're gonna do is gonna be a lot of fun because it's actually my first time. I've done it before, but this is my first time actually putting it together like this. I've created a very simple children's book. It was probably only like maybe like 10 pages. So it's gonna be interesting to see, right? It's a 32-page book. So let's get cracking at this. So let me see here. Next, what we're gonna do is, so that's the opening scene. See, I even got the text, pages 1 to 2. Well, since we're using Canva, we're probably just gonna be using one page. So it's probably gonna be a 16-page book. ChatGPT's talking about like if it's spread, like if you have a book that's spread across, then more than likely it'll be a 32-page book. But since this is one page at a time, very simple children's book, then we're gonna just use one. We're gonna use, instead of page 1 to 2, we're gonna just use each block of text for each page. So let's go ahead and jump into creating some characters. So we're gonna go ahead and have it help us prompt for the characters. Okay. What we need now is prompts for characters and character for the characters. It's going to give us some ideas here. So, okay, the chocolate thief. It's very basic. There's only 4 characters, which is good, and then the bug tracker. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Usually, the best way to do it is not overthinking. It's just kind of jump into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this image, and then I'm gonna let Nano Banana know what we're doing exactly. So help me. Let me see. Help me prompt for Elizabeth. And then one thing you can do here, especially if you want to, we're going to go ahead and create a document with this in here. That way we have our notes. We just pop in there. We don't have to keep coming back and scrolling up. Go to the drive real quick. Create new doc. So this will keep us kind of on task, so we don't have to keep going back. And then we're also going to grab the character design prompts. So, and then once we get that in there, so a storybook illustration, what I can do with this is I'm going to let it know, describe the image, use this image as inspiration for a storybook illustration of a little girl named Elizabeth looking exactly like the original drawing provided. Preserve her face and proportions from the reference art. Place her in a whimsical kingdom of chocolate rivers. So we don't need all this. We're just gonna match the artistic line. No, you don't want to. We don't want to match it because even though I love my my daughter's drawing, it's good, but it's just gonna be difficult for a children's book, right? So from reference art, um, create a character cell that concept. You can use cell, I guess. So that will be that we can use over and over. So that's what we're thinking of right here. Repeatedly. No, it'll be create a reference image that we multiple times. What I want to do is create like a reference image. I already said I want to create a reference image. Let's see what happens with Nano. I want to create a reference image for that we can just drop in here and put it in different worlds and different backdrops and stuff like that. So let's see what happens here. That's not really what I was looking for. Sorry. What I'm looking for is this as a. Can you use this as a reference to create a more illustrative style for a children's book? Now, if this doesn't work, we're just gonna full on use ChatGPT's prompt to see if we can get something close. So it looks like it's just gonna start using that, right? So one thing we can do is one thing we can do here is we're gonna go ahead and use the prompt that ChatGPT gave us for Elizabeth. So where is it at? Here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this, right? A curious little girl with golden. Illustrated children's book. But as you can see, the consistency is pretty good as far as like, look how good that is. It's like very, very consistent as far as the images. So this is kind of what I would. This is very similar. Honestly, it's probably really good. We could probably stick with something like this. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and download. Go ahead and save this and go ahead and save this here. And then see if we can generate you gotta tell it right. This is for a children's. This is for an illustrated children's book. So this, we're gonna see how this goes. Boom, like that's perfect. I like that. That's really good. So we're gonna go ahead and download that. That's actually a lot better than what I was expecting, right? So that's why I like using Chat GPT as the prompt, because it's just really good at putting that data. But Nano Banana right now is a killer in image generation. So this is for an illustrated children's book. So we're just creating the characters now. This is what we're doing. So we'll see how this turns out. Like, I don't want to speak too soon because sometimes everything's going great and then boom, something happens. That's actually really good. I like that. I don't know about the bottle though. Let me see. And a gentle smile, sometimes carried in a bottle or splashing. So we can use this as a reference, but we just got to make sure. Actually, you know what? One thing. Make the axolotl in water instead of in water. So just keep it simple. So it's gonna regenerate that image. I want to do it in water because if you start using some of the images as references and there's chocolate milk everywhere, more than likely it's gonna stick with that. So that's perfect right there. We're gonna stick with that axolotl. Lila is the character, so we're gonna go ahead, Lila image, and then we're going to create. So he's a sly raccoon. I like it. Chocolate milk thief for a children's book. So we already got the text. The next things that we're gonna be focusing on once we get the characters going is the images, and then we're gonna use these characters as references. There's a book. These images as references for each page. So we'll see what happens there. Man, look at that sly raccoon. Ooh, even got the chocolate, the chocolate milk in his backpack. I like it. I like it. It's a great little image, right? So let's go ahead and this is gonna be the chocolate milk thief. All right, so we got our character image references. Next, we just got to put them in the story. So this is world designs. We can definitely start getting some backdrops here. So we'll start with that. See what happens. A magical land where rivers flow with chocolate milk. The houses are made of cookie bricks, and sky is always pink at sunset. A whimsical storybook kingdom. I like that. So as you can see, the ChatGPT can come up with the prompts for you, right? So it took the storybook just a little too far, but it got a good idea. The reason I kind of want to shy away from the backgrounds is because we're going to be putting these characters in them, and having, we're going to describe it via text, but we're going to put the characters in them. So let me see. This is Chocolate Kingdom. So we're going to go ahead and get our first page going. So let's see here. Actually, hold on. We got to create the bug tracker too. That's important. Yeah, because small golden. The thing is, like, sometimes it just doesn't. You don't need all that. So let's create the bug tracker. And illustrated children's book. Small golden buck should little softly. It has delicate wings, blah, blah, blah. The design is whimsical, magical, like a mix between a ladybug and a compass. Cool. So I can already see there's probably going to be a little bit of issues with this when we're prompting it, just because sometimes it's a little bit complicated to actually get to separate it. So we're going to see what happens here. So that's cool. Look at the bug tracker. I like that. And we're going to use that. All right. So now the fun part begins. We're going to start building out the book. The book images. So we're going to start with in the kingdom. So check it out. We'll use this. We're going to test this out, see what happens. And then since we have these characters as references, you would want to see here. So you have these characters, these images as references. Wide view of the whimsical kingdom, chocolate rivers, candy cottages, soft bath, milk near her home. Her smile is warm and curious. So we're going to try that. It's going to be page 1. So this is going to be page 1 of the children's of, and then we didn't even get a name. What should we name it? That's a good idea. That's a good point. Elizabeth and the Chocolate Thief. There we go. That's the name. It's going to be the first page of Elizabeth and the Chocolate Thief. Here is the image. I've included an image of Elizabeth. So let's see what happens there. We're going to try prompting it like that. We can also use ChatGPT. The reason I'm kind of shying away from it is just because of the inconsistency. I've done it before, but we're gonna try Nano Banana to see how well it can stay consistent. So it puts her in the book, which I'm not really a big fan of. So let's see here. Here's page 1. She's like oversized, but you see the consistency here, right? So let's see here. How could we fix this? I'm trying to think. So we can use her again. And then in the kingdom, everyone drank chocolate milk. So that's the story flow. So let's go here. One thing we could try too is ChatGPT to kind of kick us off. So generate the first page, and then it's because the illustration notes is what's really getting it. So we got to simplify it. One thing you can do, actually, you know what? You can do this. So let's not put Elizabeth in there. Wide view. I see. So this is going to be the second page. Right. So let's see what happens there. And we're just experimenting stuff here. Okay, so it keeps bringing up the book for some reason. How can we put it that just to... It keeps creating a book. So how can I... Sometimes we could go here. See what happens if I just type that. It keeps creating a book as well. I just need the image. So boom. So there you go. That's the first page. So we're going to go ahead and download that. And we're going to just title it page 1. Should we keep? Yeah, so we're going to keep book pages. Create. It's going to be page 1. Okay, so now we're going to draw Elizabeth, right? And then we're going to use Elizabeth's reference. Elizabeth happily sipping chocolate milk near her home, her warm smile, her smile warm and curious. So let's do page 2. And then near her, what would they be called? Her candy cottage. So right here, I don't want to put home because it's, you're not telling it where Elizabeth is at. So we're going to go to the next one here. Next page, see what happens. Crossing fingers, it gets it right the first time, so we'll see. See, it kind of made her a little bit bigger. Elizabeth is oversized in this image. Can we either shrink her or make make one cottage that's normal size? So we'll try it. So we're gonna go ahead and try it. And sometimes it's just try and error, but we're gonna see what happens. Sometimes we're probably not gonna be able to get it right. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that's not the case. So we'll see. Still a little bit too big. So if this happens, right, what we can do is sometimes you gotta think it through. You can do this. Let's go ahead and page 2 rough draft. So what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna use chat, because let's see what happens with ChatGPT, and we can resize Elizabeth real quick. Shrink the girl. So we're gonna try that. Let's see what happens. Hopefully we don't get an error, because sometimes we do with chat. And if this doesn't work, I got another idea on how we can prompt it. Got gingerbread stars. That's pretty cool. See, that's what I'm talking about. The inconsistency is not. It's just not consistent. Um. So let's try this, because that one did shrink it, so which I do like. So let's give it another shot, but this time we're gonna tell it to just shrink it. Shrink a little bit. Shrink the girl. Just because I want to stay consistent. This goes to prove also that AI is not perfect. Um, it looks exactly the same. I don't see any difference. Oh yeah, she did shrink a little bit. We're getting there. We're getting there. You shrink her scale the cottages. So we're gonna try one more time. If this doesn't work, we're gonna continue. Like, it's okay if it's a little bit inconsistent, or at least there's some goofiness happening. The whole point is gonna be the concept of this, and also the content of this, as far as the book goes. So we'll see what happens now. Still, that's okay. We're gonna keep going. So there's gonna be page 2 of the book, and then now we're gonna go ahead and close up, holding an empty cup. The tap is dry. So we're gonna go ahead and grab this. We're gonna use Elizabeth's reference image. So remember, so right now, one morning when Elizabeth turned the tap, nothing came out. No chocolate milk, not even one drop. Oh no, she gasped. What's happening? So this is this is funny because it's not even gonna understand that kind of stuff. Not yet, at least. So we're gonna go ahead and get that one going. That one's good. Good enough. Let me see. Page 3. I mean, there's still some chocolate milk, but it's all right. Maybe we can do something like this. Close up of Elizabeth's surprised face, holding an empty cup upside down. Let's try that. Oh shoot, I forgot to add. Hold on. Yeah, let's try this. Or actually, we already have this one. We can do this. I think, wait, hold on. I think I already got it. So, since we already have it, we can do this. Turn the cup the girl is holding down. Completely empty. We can emphasize. Let's see what happens if we try that for page 3. So as you can see, the character design, I wanted to use my daughter's drawing, but I just kept creating an image that just wasn't gonna fit as far as like how it was illustrated. This is a little bit more conventional type illustration. It's a little bit more detailed, so we're gonna stick with, we stuck with that one in particular. Well, she's not even holding the cup. There's no cup anymore. So I mean, we continue with page 3, the current image we have, but I'm trying to emphasize that the cup is empty. So we'll see. I'm barely on page 3. I guess 3 and 4. So it'll go by pretty quick once we get some flow going. It's just these image generations take a while, so now she's missing an arm. So we're gonna stick with this one for page 3, just for time purposes, because we could sit here and try to get that right, but it might not completely work. So we're gonna stick with that. So next page, Elizabeth packed her backpack with snacks, her favorite cup, and her last bottle of chocolate milk. She was going to solve the mystery at the castle, the queen sat sadly on her cocoa throne. Someone has been stealing chocolate milk. So let's go ahead and take this. And then we're going to go ahead and create this. And this is what you would do, just go by page by page, getting the images illustrated. And then once we, get a couple pages going, I'm going to show you what to do next and how to create some ebooks that you can print out or have them binded or however you'd like to. Ooh, that's a really good one. I like that. So, have them binded, have them printed out, however you would like to do that. So this is actually that's a really good shot. It's a really good image. So now, inside the queen sits with her crown, like crown shaped like a golden cup, brown and cream tones everywhere. I'm not sure. I guess it's described the inn, but we already got the queen, so I think we can probably just use this image right here, the queen's image, but we're gonna see what happens. That's kind of. Let me see what the story is like. Oh, sat sadly. So she's sitting sadly in her throne. So we forgot to include that. So let's stop real quick on queen sits sadly. That way it can get that facial expression in there and see what happens. There you go. Boom. I like that. That is really cool. So she's sitting sadly. There we go. Starting to get on a roll here. Get on a little roll. And then so this is going to be fun right here because we're about to use some ingredients. All right, close up of the queen handing Elizabeth a glowing golden bug tracker shape tracker. So let's go ahead and get the put the queen in here. Let's go back. I guess you could leave her in there for a bit. So that's Elizabeth. That's the queen. And then actually I gotta see the story here. Thief lives in the forest, said the queen, but no one knows where. She had a shiny blah blah. Okay, cool. All right, and then we're gonna add the tracker. See how well it handles this. We're gonna see. So we're just generating the images for the pages. So we'll see how it goes. But as you can see, I've already knocked out. We're doing some exceptions just because for time, but we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pages, right? So I had a supposedly a 32-page book, which is probably going to be a lot shorter just because we're going to combine some of the scenes. That is awesome. I freaking love that. Look at that. That's cool. All right, so this is page. Hold on. Let me see. Honestly, that's one page right there. So that's really cool. So this is page 6 that we got. 6, right? Yeah. And you can name these however you like. I'm just doing like page 1, page 2, just for simplicity. So let's go ahead and this is where Elizabeth meets Lila. Soft forest scene, caramel colored trees, chocolate scented mist. I don't even know what that means. Purple river. All right. Well, I guess Lila the exile glows slightly in the sunlight. Cute round expression. So you can also, so those are the illustration notes. Elizabeth walked into the forest beside the kingdom. One thing you can do, like you can also probably, if you want to keep it consistent, right? Let's go ahead and then like for example, let's say we want the page where the thief lives in the forest, said the queen, but no one knows. She handed Elizabeth, right? You can create an image for that. So right now, this is kind of, for me at least, I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, there's no context for the axolotl to show up. So let's go ahead and we're gonna use the text to actually help us generate the next page. So Elizabeth walked into the forest beside the kingdom. The air smelled sweet, and a purple river sparkled nearby. So we're gonna use that to generate the image for the next page. We'll see how it goes. It's taking its time now generating the images, but I mean, I'm liking that it's been more consistent, at least with what we're trying to do. So that's really cool. Hopefully, I don't speak too soon though, because sometimes everything's going smooth and then it decides to throw a wrench in there, and then you're kind of like, oh man, it was going so well. Perfect. So that's really cool. Like it's starting to kind of stay more and more consistent. So this is page 7. Now this makes a little bit more sense for the axolotl to pop up because now there's a little bit of context, right? So we can use sunlight. Actually, you can probably just suddenly she saw a friendly purple axolotl. So now let's go ahead and use we can actually use this one, this same page, and then we just need the axolotl reference. So let's go ahead and drop that in there. And let's see what happens. Like sometimes it might not come out the same. Look how awesome that is. That's perfect. Like it's kind of reading what I'm looking for. And it's also great that it stays very consistent. So there's page 9 and 10. And then we're going to go through, you're just going to continue to do this for each page until it's completed, right? So we're going to pause right there. From here, what you would want. So what we're going to do next is you're going to continue to do this, and we're going to then create we're going to come into Canva, and we're going to start putting the book together. So one thing we can do is we're going to go ahead and create design, and then it's going to be a you do custom size. What I like doing is just a standard 8.5 by 11. Do magazine cover. It could be a standard letter or whatever. And then we're gonna grab our images. So we're gonna start with page 1, right? Just drop it in here. Keep it nice and simple. You know, and just drag it just to fit the borders. And then we're just gonna add some text. Nice little heading. You can literally just copy and paste this right here. Just the size you want. You know, keep it nice and simple here. Then what we're gonna do next, in the kingdom of chocolate milk, you can mess around with the font, do whatever you want on here. I'm just gonna stick with that just cause I'm just demonstrating like what you can do. So Canva's really good at this. So next we're gonna add a page, and then we're gonna run with page 2. Right, so expand this out. That's page 2. We're gonna drop some text in there. And you can format this however you want. If you want to, you know, put the text on the image, that's completely up to you. This is page 2, right? Everyone loved it. Especially everyone loved chocolate milk, but no one loved it more than Elizabeth. And then you're just going to continue to do that for each page. One cool thing that you can do as well, you can have it create a cover. A cover for this book. Elizabeth and the Chocolate Thief. And we're just gonna give some references. Throw that in there. You know, you can throw this dude in there. Throw the Chocolate Thief in that mix. And then we go to the Chocolate Kingdom. You know, probably create something like this. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna mix it all together. So I'm just gonna create a cover for you. Sometimes it adds the text. We'll see if it adds it. What happens here? Elizabeth and the Chocolate Thief. There's a little bit of inconsistency here, but it's all right. We're gonna stick with that for now. I really like that cover. So now we're gonna go ahead and move this one up. This is gonna be the cover. You know, Elizabeth and the Chocolate Thief. So, yeah, once you're done, once you've gotten all the pages in here and you've gotten the text the way you like it, you know, you just download it as a PDF. PDF standards usually pretty good. Download it. And boom, you got your first children's book. I'm not going to go through each page because if I do, this video will probably be like 2 or 3 hours long. But you know, you have enough there to get started and start creating your own children's books. If you need ideas or anything like that, just prompt ChatGPT to start giving you ideas. Trust me, there's plenty of ideas out there for this. Talk to your kids if you have kids, just to pick their brains, get some really good ideas from them. Talk to your spouse, talk to your friends. You'll be surprised at where ideas come from. Shoot, even stories you make up you can use. But essentially, this will get you started and going. It might take you a couple tries with the Nano Banana and Google Gemini and ChatGPT, sometimes with the AI. But once you get it going, once you figure out like how to tweak the prompts and stuff, it becomes really easy, really smooth. And there's gonna be a little bit of inconsistency here and there, but I mean, imagine you have a book in a couple of hours versus a couple of months, fully illustrated children's book that you can read to your kids. I don't know, you could publish it, maybe monetize it if you want to go that route, or use it as concept to maybe pitch people that to back you on some children's books. That's also another route that you could potentially take. Either way, the tools are all there. This is just some stuff that I like to do with AI and the cool things that you can do. I mean, if you have creativity, it's essentially limitless on what you can do with it nowadays. But yeah, that's the video on how to create a children's book. I'm Mac, and if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, comment, and I'll catch you on the next one.